Hi, this is Marie from Creations Photography. This morning I saw a question in one of the groups I belong to asking if it was possible to create an animated GIF in Photoshop. And I answered yes, it was possible. He came back and said, how? Well, that's not something that I can easily do in words. So I thought I would start with a little demonstration. In order to do an animation, you need to go to Windows, Timeline, and I'm going to turn off my intro slide here. And I'm starting out with a shape that I'm going to label as the short shape. Now I'm going to add a new layer and grab a brush, and I want the brush to be fairly smooth, so I'm going to push up the smoothing a little bit, and I'm going to try and draw a smiley face. Not bad, not wonderful. I'm going to tap V and move this up just a little bit. Then I'm going to tap B and go back to my brush, and I am going to make a couple of what I'm going to call long eyes, for lack of a better word. And I'm going to label this one Big Eyes. I do this so I know what's going on all the time. Now I have to say my interface will probably look a lot different than yours. Mine is customized to the work I do, and I have saved it. I have a video on how to customize your workspace on my website. Okay, back to where we started. I need a copy of these big eyes, and I'm going to call it, try the keyboard shortcut, Command or Control J, to make a copy of it. And in this copy, and I'm going to turn off the big eyes, I'm going to grab my eraser, and I am going to erase the top part of those eyes. So now I have what I'm going to label winks. All right. So I also need to make a copy of this short shape, Command or Control J, and I want to transform this one. And because it's a shape, I am going to go over here to my selection tools and choose a direct selection tool, and I'm going to zoom in here a bit, and I'm going to click at the top of this shape, and you can see that there are 4 points in it. So now I'm going to go back to 0, or Command or Control 0, to get everything in, and I am going to click on this and just lift it up. Just lift it, lift it, lift it, lift it. And yes, I will continue that, but I don't need to show it again. But I have a little problem here. I need the top round. So let's click on the handle and pull it out, and then click on the other handle and pull it out. And I'm going to try and get this as much as I can to be just an elongated version. An elongated version of the circle. So I have this and I have this. Looks pretty good. But I am going to need another set of big eyes, Command or Control J, and I need to turn them on, but I need them up taller, so I'm going to hold my Shift key down. I'm going to tap my V key for the Move tool. I'm going to hold my Shift key down so this goes straight up. And I'm going to do the same thing with the wink eyes. Of course, I have to have that layer selected. Move tool, Shift key, straight up. And they're not quite the same. So I'm going to have to wiggle and jiggle there as I click the layer on and off. Good. Now we've got all our parts. Whoops, I didn't mean to turn off the artboard. And I'm going to scoot that one up a little bit. Now I am ready to begin my animation. Now you'll notice if I click here, I can either create a video timeline or a frame animation. And in this case, the frame animation is a little simpler. So I am going to say I am going to create a frame animation. And when I click this, it puts in my first frame, which should be my short little blob. Okay, I'm going to add another frame, but this time I'm going to have the tall blob with the big eyes. Okay, new frame. Wink eyes. New frame. Big eyes. And because the big eye and the wink eyes are in the same location, all I have to do is click on and off my big eyes copy. New frame, wink eyes, new frame, tall eyes, new frame, wink eyes, new frame, big eyes, and so on until you're tired of it. Okay. For this next new frame, I'm going to turn off. I'm going to go back to the short eyes and short blob. So I'm going to click on frame number 1 and I'm going to push play to see what it looks like. And it will play forever unless you change that. Well, I think that's running just a little bit fast. So if I select all of these frames and click on the 0 over here that says there's no time at all between the frames, I can choose anywhere from no delay to 10 seconds. Well, I tried a half a second a while ago, and that was a bit too laggy, so I ended up with 0.2 seconds between the frames, and let's see what that looks like. It's probably still a little fast. So again, select all the frames. Let's try other, and let's set the delay at 0.3, 3/10 of a second. All right, we'll play it, see what we have. Oh, I think that works much better. Okay, now here we can choose to play it forever. We can choose to play it once. We can go 3 times, or we can choose any other number between. For this little guy, I'm just going to leave it at forever. For your animation, you have to decide what's going to be best. Now that we have this done, I'm going to save this as a circle to blob animation. So I can always go back and redo this, perhaps another way, perhaps to make more for it, to maybe add another character, maybe have something bouncing around. But if you save it as a PSD file, you always have that option of continuing on. If you don't save it, you're stuck with what you've got and you've got to start all over again. Now, to get the actual GIF, we have to go to Export, Save for Web Legacy. Now, as far as I know, this is the one thing in Photoshop that you have to do this one way. Perhaps you could export it as, but I don't think that you can. So we're going to save for Web Legacy. And you'll see there are a bunch of presets. There's GIFs, there's JPEGs, there's PNG files. And I generally go GIF 64, no dither. And I'm going to leave the looping at forever. I am going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to preview it, so that you know that the GIF is going to work the way you think it's going to. Okay, now I am going to save it. And I am going to save it. Let's see if I can find the folder, how to animate for. There we go. And save it in the folder that I made it in. And you have your short animation in Photoshop. Thank you so much.